The dim lights of Haven's Edge slave market cast ugly shadows across Silver's pale skin. Her natural bioluminescence, once a source of pride among her people, had faded to a weak, sickly glow. The heavy chains around her wrists and ankles clinked with each small movement, a constant reminder of her fallen status. 3 months. It had been 3 months since the pirates attacked her research vessel. She could still see the flash of their weapons, hear the screams of her colleagues, and feel the burning sting of the neural suppressors they used to capture her. The memory made her skin flicker with a brief pulse of angry red light before fading back to its dull blue shade. "Stand up straight." The slave handler's voice cracked like a whip. His thick, scaled hand grabbed her shoulder, forcing her into a better position for the buyers to examine. Silver's jaw clenched, but she obeyed. Fighting back had only led to pain in the past. The market around her buzzed with activity. Dozens of species wandered between the holding pens and display platforms, examining merchandise with cold, calculating eyes. A tall, insectoid creature clicked its mandibles while studying the group of captured maintenance workers. A blob-like being oozed past, its sensory stalks waving over a young Andromedian who couldn't stop trembling. Silver's education had never prepared her for this. As a senior researcher at the Luminar Science Academy, she had studied countless alien species, but understanding their biology was different from being treated as property by them. Her people, the Luminars, were known throughout the galaxy for their intelligence and natural affinity for technology. Now those same gifts made her a valuable commodity. "What's the starting price on this one?" A gruff voice drew her attention. A bulky creature with mottled gray skin and too many eyes looked her up and down. "Luminars are rare in these parts." The handler grinned, showing several rows of needle-sharp teeth. 30,000 credits. She's trained, educated, and her bioluminescence works perfectly. See how it changes." He pinched Silver's arm hard, making her gasp. Her skin flashed yellow with pain and fear. The buyer leaned closer, his breath hot and rancid. "Any damage from the capture?" "Nothing permanent. The neural suppressors left some scarring, but it doesn't affect performance." The handler pushed Silver's hair aside, showing the ugly marks on the back of her neck where the suppressors had burned into her skin. Silver forced herself to stay still, even as shame and rage made her light ripple with dark colors. She remembered the day of the attack clearly. Her team had been studying spatial anomalies in a remote sector when the pirates struck. Their small research vessel had no chance against the heavily armed raiders. The pirates had known exactly what they were looking for. Luminar captives sold for high prices on the black market. More potential buyers gathered around her platform. They discussed her attributes as if she were a piece of equipment, debating her potential uses and value. One wanted her for a private research facility. Another thought she would make an excellent engineer for their mining operation. A third suggested she could be trained for entertainment, making use of her species' natural light shows. Silver's glow dimmed further with each passing moment. She had once been respected, her work published in journals across 3 systems. Now she stood naked except for the chains, being sold like an animal. Her captors had stripped away everything: her clothes, her dignity, her identity. They even took her name, replacing it with Silver because of her pale, luminescent skin. A commotion at the market entrance caught her attention. Security forces were checking new arrivals, making sure no undercover law enforcement had infiltrated the illegal auction. Among the incoming crowd, Silver noticed a human, a rare sight in these lawless parts. He moved differently from the other buyers, his eyes showing disgust rather than greed as he surveyed the market. The handler noticed her distraction and yanked her chain. "Eyes down. The bidding will start soon." Silver obeyed, but her mind lingered on the human. She had read that their species had strong views against slavery. Not that it mattered now. One owner or another, her fate would be decided by whoever offered the most credits. The bidding started with a harsh bang of the handler's metal rod against the platform. Silver kept her eyes down, trying to make herself as small as possible while potential buyers gathered around. Her skin flickered with nervous patterns of pale green and yellow, betraying her fear despite her best efforts to stay calm. 30,000 credits to start. The handler shouted. Look at the quality of her bioluminescence, perfect for research, engineering, or private collection. Several voices called out bids, each one making Silver's heart sink further. The gray-skinned alien from earlier was particularly eager, quickly pushing the price to 45,000 credits. She had seen his type before, the kind who bought skilled slaves and worked them until they broke. 50,000. A clear voice cut through the noise. Silver risked a glance up and saw the human she had noticed earlier. He stood at the edge of the crowd, his face set in a hard expression that made even the handler pause. The handler recovered quickly. 50,000 from the human. Do I hear 55? 60,000, growled the gray-skinned alien, glaring at the human with all his eyes. The human stepped closer to the platform. Now Silver could see him better. He wore simple cargo pilot's clothes, and his brown hair was slightly messy. But his eyes were sharp and focused, studying not just her but the chains and the handler's control panel. 70,000. The human's voice remained steady. A murmur went through the crowd. That was well above the usual price for even a skilled slave. The gray-skinned alien shuffled his feet, clearly calculating if he could afford to go higher. 70,000 credits. The handler's voice rose with excitement. Going once. 75. The gray-skinned alien spat out. The human didn't hesitate. 80,000. Silver's glow pulsed with surprise. She couldn't help but stare at the human now. There was something different about the way he looked at her, not with the usual greed or cold calculation, but with what almost seemed like concern. 80,000 credits. The handler was practically dancing now. A fine price for a fine specimen. Going once. The gray-skinned alien snarled but stepped back. The other buyers had already dropped out. Going twice. Silver held her breath. The human hadn't moved, his eyes now locked with hers. She saw something in them that made her bioluminescence shift to a questioning shade of blue. Sold. To the human. The handler quickly processed the payment while keeping a tight hold on Silver's chains. Your property, sir, he said, handing over the control key. Though I should warn you, luminars can be tricky. Best to keep the suppressors active for the first few days. That won't be necessary. The human's voice had an edge to it now. He stepped onto the platform and took the key. Silver tensed, waiting for her new owner to jerk her chains or activate the suppressors. Instead, he did something that made her bioluminescence flare bright with shock. He started unlocking her restraints. Sir, the handler protested. You really should wait until. She's my property now, isn't she? The human's words were cold. That means it's my choice. The chains fell away one by one. Silver stood frozen, her skin rippling with confused patterns of light. No owner had ever removed her restraints before. She didn't understand what was happening. My name is Jack, the human said quietly, shrugging off his jacket and holding it out to her. And I don't believe anyone should be property. Silver took the jacket with trembling hands, her mind struggling to process this turn of events. Her glow shifted through several colors as she pulled it on, covering herself for the first time in months. The handler was still protesting, but Jack ignored him. Let's get out of here, he said to Silver. My ship's not far. Unless. He paused, looking at her carefully. Unless you'd rather go somewhere else. Silver stared at him. Was he actually giving her a choice? Her skin pulsed with a mix of hope and disbelief as she took her first step forward as a free person. Silver followed Jack through Haven's Edge station, keeping close to avoid the crowds. She clutched his jacket tightly around herself, her skin glowing with nervous flickers of green and yellow. Every sudden movement made her flinch, expecting someone to grab her or call her escaped property. But no one stopped them. Jack walked with purpose, clearing a path through the busy corridors until they reached a smaller docking bay. There, attached to one of the moorings, was a medium-sized cargo ship. The name Second Chance was painted on its hull in simple letters. "Home sweet home," Jack said, pressing his hand to the entry scanner. The ship's door slid open with a soft hiss. "After you." Silver hesitated. Her time as a slave had taught her to be wary of enclosed spaces with no escape. But something in Jack's patient stance, the way he didn't rush or push her, made her glow shift to a slightly calmer blue. She stepped inside. The ship's interior was clean but lived in. Cargo containers lined the walls of the entry bay, all properly secured and labeled. It looked like a real trading vessel, not a slave transport. "The living quarters are up here," Jack said, leading the way up a short stairway. "Kitchen, bathroom, crew cabins. Pick any room you like, except the one with the mess of papers on the desk. That's mine." Silver's glow pulsed with confusion. "You're giving me a room?" "Of course." Jack opened a storage compartment and pulled out some clothes. "These might be a bit big, but they're clean. Bathroom's there if you want to shower. Food's in the kitchen when you're hungry." Her skin rippled with disbelief. "I don't understand. You spent so much money. What do you want from me?" Jack's face grew serious. "What I want is to not live in a galaxy where people are bought and sold like cargo." He set the clothes down on a nearby table. "Humans outlawed slavery centuries ago. We learned the hard way what it does to both slaves and masters. Destroys everyone's humanity in the end." Silver's glow dimmed as she processed his words. "But why help me? You don't know me." "Don't need to," Jack shrugged. "Nobody deserves chains. Simple as that." A small sound escaped Silver's throat, somewhere between a laugh and a sob. Her skin flickered rapidly through colors as emotions she'd locked away for months finally surfaced. "It's not that simple. Nothing is that simple." "Maybe not," Jack agreed. "But it's a start." He pointed to a control panel on the wall. "Ship's computer is there if you want to check the news, send messages, whatever. I'll be in the cockpit doing pre-flight checks. Take your time." He turned to leave, then paused. "Oh, and Silver. That's not your real name, is it? What should I call you?" Her glow stuttered. She had almost forgotten her old name after months of being called Silver. But now, standing in this strange ship with its strange human captain, she couldn't bring herself to share it. "Not yet. Silver is fine. For now." Jack nodded, understanding in his eyes. "Fair enough. Get some rest. We'll talk more when you're ready." Left alone, Silver slowly explored her surroundings. The bathroom had real water settings, not just sonic cleaning. The clothes were soft and warm. The cabin he'd offered had a proper bed with actual blankets. Such simple things, but they made her skin pulse with emotions she couldn't quite name. At the computer terminal, she hesitated only briefly before checking the ship's registration. Everything seemed legitimate. A small independent cargo operation with regular routes and proper permits. No hidden slave compartments, no secret weapons. Just an honest trading vessel. Her glow settled into a cautious shade of blue-green. She didn't trust this situation yet. Couldn't trust it, after everything. But for the first time since her capture, she felt something dangerous starting to grow in her heart. Hope. 3 days aboard the Second Chance had taught Silver more about humans than all her years of research. She sat in the ship's small kitchen area, watching Jack prepare what he called real coffee, apparently different from the synthetic stuff common in space. "Sugar?" he asked, holding up a small container. When she nodded, her skin glowed a soft yellow of contentment. It still surprised her how he always asked about her preferences, even for small things. The ship's computer beeped, displaying their current cargo manifest. Silver glanced at it automatically, her researcher's mind already calculating the most efficient route to their 3 delivery points. "You know," Jack said, setting a cup in front of her, "I could use help managing those shipments, if you're interested." Silver's glow flickered with uncertainty. "You would trust me with your business. Why wouldn't I?" You've got more education than I ever had." He sat down across from her. "Look, I meant what I said before. You're not my property. You're free to leave at any safe port we reach. But if you want to stay, there's honest work here. Equal share of the profits." Her skin rippled with blues and greens as she processed his words. Equal share. The concept seemed impossible after months of slavery. "But you spent all your money buying me." "I spent that money freeing you," Jack corrected. "There's a difference." He pulled up the ship's navigation screen. "We've got deliveries to make on New Mars, Europa Station, and the Centauri colonies. You can get off at any of them, or—" He gestured to the co-pilot's chair that had been empty since his last partner retired. "You can help me run this business properly." Silver wrapped her hands around the warm coffee cup. Her bioluminescence shifted to a thoughtful purple as she studied the cargo manifest again. "These shipping calculations aren't optimized," she noted. "You could save 20% on fuel by adjusting the route." Jack grinned. "See, you're already proving my point." A small smile tugged at Silver's lips, making her glow brighten. She had started doing that more lately. Smiling. It felt strange but good, like stretching muscles that had been still for too long. She stood up and walked to the ship's viewport, looking at the stars streaming past. The view was different here than from the research vessel she used to work on. Less pristine, more real. Like Jack himself. "What happens if pirates attack?" she asked suddenly, her glow dimming at the memory of her capture. "Then we fight back." Jack's voice was firm. "This ship has decent shields and weapons. I'm not looking for trouble, but I won't run from it either. And I won't let anyone take you back there." The conviction in his voice made her skin pulse with a warm rose color she hadn't shown in months. Trust, not the forced submission of slavery, but real trust, freely given. She turned back to him. "The Centauri colonies need their medical supplies first," she said, pointing to the manifest. "We should reroute there before New Mars. I can calculate the fuel requirements." Jack's smile widened. "Is that a yes to staying?" Silver sat down at the co-pilot's station, her fingers already moving over the controls as her natural affinity for technology kicked in. Her glow settled into a steady, confident blue. "It's a yes to the next 3 deliveries. After that, we'll see." "Fair enough." Jack started inputting the course changes she suggested. "Welcome aboard as a free partner of the Second Chance Shipping Company." As they worked together adjusting the ship's route, Silver realized something had changed. For the first time since her capture, she was thinking about the future. Not just surviving the next day, but actually building something new. Her light showed swirls of blue confidence mixed with golden hope. She still had nightmares, still flinched sometimes when someone moved too quickly. But here, working beside a human who treated her like a person instead of property, she was learning something she had thought lost forever. How to trust again. The alarm blared through the Second Chance's corridors, jerking Silver awake from her sleep. Her skin flashed bright white with fear as she recognized the sound proximity alert. Another ship was approaching fast. She rushed to the bridge, her bare feet silent on the metal floor. Jack was already there, his hands moving quickly over the controls. "Unidentified vessel," he was saying into the comm. "This is the cargo ship Second Chance. Please state your intentions." The response came in a familiar voice that made Silver's entire body go cold, her glow dimming to almost nothing. Well, if it isn't the human who overpaid for our merchandise." Jack's head snapped toward Silver, seeing her frozen in the doorway. He switched off the comm. "The pirates who took you." She nodded, her voice barely a whisper. "The captain. Red Shield. They're known for taking back escaped slaves." "You didn't escape. I bought you legally." Jack's voice was calm, but his eyes were hard. "And you're not a slave anymore." The pirate ship was visible now through the viewport, larger than the Second Chance, its weapons already powered up. The comm crackled again. "Hand over the Luminar, human, and we'll let your ship pass. She's valuable property, and we have a buyer waiting." Silver's hands were shaking, but she forced herself to move to the co-pilot's seat. Her fingers found the controls automatically. "The fuel calculations I made," she said. "If we route power from non-essential systems, we might be able to outrun them." Jack nodded, trusting her judgment without question. "Do it." Her skin began to glow with focused blue light as she worked, pushing aside her fear. She had spent 2 weeks learning every system on this ship. Now that knowledge could save them both. The pirate ship fired a warning shot, the energy blast passing just over their bow. "Don't be stupid, human. Our ship is bigger, better armed. You can't escape." "Watch me," Jack muttered, then turned to Silver. "Ready?" She finished the power rerouting sequence. "Yes, but Jack, you could just give me to them. Save yourself and your ship." "Not happening." His hands tightened on the controls. "You're my partner, not my property. Now show me that route." Silver's glow pulsed with sudden warmth. She brought up the course she had plotted, a dangerous path through a nearby asteroid field. "Their ship is too big to follow quickly. If we time it right." "Perfect." Jack grinned. "Hold on." The second chance shot forward, its engines straining as they pushed well past normal safety limits. Behind them, the pirate ship opened fire, but Jack's piloting skills kept them just ahead of the blasts. Silver monitored the power levels, making constant adjustments. Her fear was still there, but now it was mixed with something else. Determination. Her skin glowed with swirls of blue focus and red courage. They'd reached the asteroid field. Jack's hands danced over the controls, guiding them between massive rocks while Silver calculated their trajectory. Each turn was precise, each gap barely wide enough for their ship. Behind them, the pirate ship tried to follow, but had to move more slowly. Its bulk made it impossible to match their maneuvers. After 10 tense minutes of weaving through the field, they emerged on the other side. "They're falling behind," Silver reported, her voice stronger now. "Another few minutes, and we'll be out of their weapons range." Jack let out a breath. "Nice work with those calculations. I couldn't have done this alone." Silver's glow brightened with pride. She had faced her captors again, not as a slave, but as a free person making her own choices. She had fought back, not because she was ordered to, but to protect her new home and her partner. "Neither could I," she said quietly, watching the pirate ship grow smaller on their screens. Her glow settled into a steady, determined blue. They had survived this time, but she knew the pirates wouldn't give up easily. They would need to be ready for next time. But now, she wasn't facing them alone. She had a partner who saw her as an equal, a ship she helped command, and most importantly, the freedom to choose her own path. 2 days after their escape from the pirates, Silver sat at the ship's computer terminal, her fingers moving quickly across the screen. Her skin glowed with intense concentration, showing patterns of deep blue and purple as she worked. "Found something," she called to Jack, who was checking the ship's weapon systems nearby. "During the chase, I managed to track their communication patterns. They weren't just talking to us. They were sending messages to at least 3 other ships." Jack moved to look over her shoulder. "A network?" "More than that." Silver's glow flickered with excitement as she pulled up more data. "Look at these transmission codes. They're the same ones used when I was first captured. This isn't just one group of pirates. It's an organized slavery ring." The screen filled with charts and numbers as Silver explained. "They have a system, different ships for capturing slaves, holding them, and selling them. The Red Shield pirates we met, they're just one part of it. That's why they were so interested in getting you back," Jack said thoughtfully. "You could expose their whole operation." Silver nodded, her skin pulsing with determined red light. "And I want to. But," her glow dimmed slightly, "it's dangerous. You've already risked so much for me. I can't ask you to." "You're not asking," Jack interrupted. "I'm offering. Besides," he grinned, "cargo delivery gets boring sometimes." Silver's glow brightened with gratitude, but she kept her voice serious. "We'll need help. The slavery ring is too big for just us. The Human Alliance Navy has a base 3 days from here," Jack said, pulling up a map. "They take a strong stance against slavery. If we bring them solid evidence like this." Silver pressed a few buttons, and new information filled the screen. "I've been analyzing their communication patterns. With this data, we can predict their shipping routes, identify their bases, and find where they're keeping other slaves," Jack finished. He squeezed her shoulder gently. "You're amazing, you know that." Silver's skin flickered with modest pink hues, but she kept working. "The Navy will need more than data. They'll need testimony from someone who's seen the inside of the operation." "Are you sure you're ready for that?" Jack asked quietly. "Telling your story, facing them again." Silver's hands paused over the controls. Her glow shifted through several colors as she thought. "When they first captured me," she said slowly, "I lost everything. My freedom, my dignity, my sense of self. But you gave me a chance to get it all back." Her skin settled into a steady, determined blue. "Now I want to give that same chance to others." Jack nodded, understanding in his eyes. "Then let's do this right." He started plotting a course to the Navy base. "We'll need to be careful. The slavers probably have spies." An alert from the computer interrupted him. Silver's eyes widened as she read the message. "Jack, I just decoded one of their transmissions. There's a slave transport leaving Haven's Edge tomorrow. At least 30 captured beings on board." "How far?" 6 hours at maximum speed." Her fingers flew over the controls, calculating. "We could intercept them before they reach the transfer point. But the Navy wouldn't get there in time," Jack finished. He looked at the weapons display, then at Silver. "Your call, partner. Wait for the Navy, or try to save those people ourselves." Silver's skin rippled with complex patterns of blue determination and golden hope. She remembered her own time in chains, remembered watching others being sold and shipped away. Her voice was firm when she answered. "We can send the evidence to the Navy while we move to intercept the transport. The Second Chance has good weapons, and with my access to their communication codes." Her glow brightened with purpose. "We can at least slow them down until help arrives." Jack smiled and started inputting the course. "I was hoping you'd say that. Ready to break some chains." Silver's answering glow was bright enough to light up the whole bridge. "Ready." The grand hall of the Human Alliance Navy headquarters buzzed with activity. Silver stood at the front, her skin glowing with steady, confident blue light as she addressed the assembled officers and freed slaves. 3 months had passed since she and Jack had intercepted that first slave transport, and everything had changed. "The slavery ring operated in shadows," she said, her voice clear and strong. "They thought nobody would fight back. They were wrong." Her glow brightened as she looked at the faces before her. Humans, luminars, and dozens of other species, all united in purpose. In the front row, Jack sat with a proud smile. His ship, the Second Chance, had become famous after that first rescue mission. They had managed to disable the slave transport's engines using Silver's knowledge of their systems, keeping it trapped until Alliance forces arrived. That success had led to more missions, more rescues. Today, Silver continued, her skin showing swirls of golden joy. The last major base of the Red Shield pirates has been destroyed. Their leaders are in custody. Their chains are broken. She paused, her glow softening. "But our work isn't finished." She gestured to the freed slaves in the audience. Some still showed signs of their captivity. Scars, haunted eyes, nervous movements. But they all stood straight, heads high, free to choose their own paths. "Freedom isn't just about breaking chains," Silver said. "It's about rebuilding lives. That's why we're establishing the Second Chance Foundation." Her glow shifted to warm, encouraging colors. "Every freed person will receive help finding work, housing, and medical care. No one has to face the future alone." The audience applauded. Jack stepped up to join her at the podium, and Silver's glow brightened at his presence. Together, they had transformed his small cargo business into something greater. The Second Chance now had a fleet of ships, each dedicated to both legitimate trade and rescue operations. After the ceremony, Silver walked through the halls, stopping to talk with other freed slaves. Her skin rippled with empathy as she listened to their stories, shared their hopes. Some wanted to return home. Others, like her, had found new purposes. "Ready to go?" Jack asked, joining her. "We've got that shipment of medical supplies waiting." Silver nodded, but paused to speak with one more person, a young luminar who had been freed just last week. The girl's glow was still dim with uncertainty. "I don't know what to do now," the girl admitted. "Everything's so different." Silver's skin pulsed with gentle, reassuring light. "Different can be good," she said softly. "Just take it one day at a time. And remember, you get to choose now." Walking back to their ship, Silver thought about choices. She had chosen to stay with Jack after he freed her, chosen to fight back against the pirates, chosen to help others find their freedom. Each choice had made her stronger. "Something on your mind?" Jack asked as they boarded the Second Chance. "You're glowing that thoughtful purple color." Silver smiled. "Just thinking about the day you bought me. Did you ever imagine it would lead to all this? Honestly, I just couldn't walk past someone in chains. He started the ship's power-up sequence. You did all the hard work yourself." "Not by myself," Silver corrected, taking her place at the co-pilot station. Her glow shifted to the steady blue-gold pattern that had become normal for her now, confidence mixed with happiness. "We did it together." The Second Chance lifted off, rising toward the stars. On the ship's hull, fresh paint spelled out its new motto: "Freedom lights the way." Silver looked out at the universe spread before them, her light bright and unwavering. She was no longer cargo to be bought and sold, but a free being charting her own course. "Where to next, partner?" Jack asked. Silver's glow sparkled with adventure as she plotted their course. There were still slaves to free, lives to rebuild, and an entire galaxy of choices ahead. "Anywhere we choose," she answered. And that made all the difference.